Hey Jen, this might be the last 98-inch TV that we have in the house for 2024.
Oh no, I'm so sad.
Yeah, this is the Hisense UX, 98-inch UX. We haven't had a 98-inch from Hisense in the house yet, so I'm very excited to get this one going.
Yeah, this will be pretty cool to take a look at. These are usually a really great value, so I want to see, is it worth it?
Yes, I do know it's extremely heavy.
Yeah.
It's got all kinds of features. We're gonna go into that, give some buying advice. Let's start unboxing it.
Let's go.
Okay, Jen, so this might be the most feature-rich 98-inch TV we've had in the house. Peak brightness of up to 5,000 nits, 10,000 plus local dimming zones, which is crazy. It has the 4.2.2 channel audio system, and it has a 144 hertz native panel with Wi-Fi 6E, next-gen TV, Dolby Vision, and Google TV operating system. So pretty crazy, pretty awesome. I'm excited to get it out of the box. All right, let's see what's in there. Come on, get up there.
That's the cord.
I know, it says it's got a backlit remote. I do like the new remotes from Hisense. We'll show you that in a minute.
This is the installation guide we need to read.
Am I taking your job here?
You might. You might.
A foot. Something's afoot.
Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
What is that from?
Rufus!
Oh my gosh.
Bill and Ted.
Bill, what? Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
Let's set these aside for a minute. Basic heavy metal feet. That wasn't all the weight, but took some of the weight out. Okay, we gotta open it on this side over yonder.
And over here.
You got some on that side too?
Oh, I do.
All right, let's just take the box apart.
Okay.
Oh, we got some on the bottom. That's why it's not coming apart. You got some on that side too?
Oopsie. Oh yeah. Goodness, this is secure.
It is. Here, I'll take them for you if you want. Honk, honk.
No.
All right, now we'll try. You're taking the box, you said, or the TV?
No, I'm taking the TV.
All right, you got the TV.
I think.
I might have to take one at a time. Watch the TV, man.
I got it. Yeah, this is super back heavy, so this is definitely a two-person job. I'm pretty nervous right now.
Yeah, I don't know why it's tipping back a little bit, but we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Are you just gonna continue to hold firm there and I'll do this?
Stand here and look pretty. That's what I'm
Well,
here for.
You know,
Hopefully I don't let you down.
you got the brains and the beauty, so you know, you're doing a good job either way. Tell you what, if you order this TV, you're probably assured it's gonna come in one piece because it's very well protected.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure we just take the end pieces off and then we pop in. And so the middle section will hold it up with an assistance from me because I'm not letting it go. So why don't you do your magic there with a knife?
Okay.
Oh, you got me. Sure.
Let's go my finger.
All right, I'll lift this up. You want to pull the styrofoam out?
Sure.
Go ahead. I think we can just go like that. Jen, I got some good news. All kinds of plastic for you to pull in the front.
Thank goodness.
Looks like these 2 feet might be the same either way, so I think you can just put one on one side, one on the other. It looks pretty straightforward, Jen. It looks like you got 2 screws and a foot, and that's it. It's just, psh. All right. I don't know if you're gonna need any help on this, or should I hold it, or does it just stay? Oh, it stays by itself.
Yeah.
Got a little hook on it.
Little hooker.
Yep. Everybody needs a little hooker.
There we go. I'll give it a 10 for ease of use.
I know that engineering the screws on the feet of a TV is probably not the most difficult thing that they, do, but for some reason, every time I feel like it's not enough strength, I'm like, these feet are never gonna hold this TV, it's so big. But they do, All right, let's lift it out.
Okay.
You wanna go get your back brace? You wanna get like a weight belt?
Yeah.
All right, ready to go?
I think.
It's gonna be a heavy one.
1, 2, 3. Holy shit. No.
What do you mean, no? It's not that heavy, dude.
Yeah, it is.
It's not any more heavy than the ones we lifted before. Do you wanna have Eric do it? Eric, do you wanna lift it?
Yeah.
I can stand there and hold it.
Yeah, Jen, go hold this.
You want to hold it?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Jen's the cameraman. So take two.
Take two.
Jen tried, no good.
Take my drop.
1, 2, 3. It's not light, dude. All right, there we go. That's crazy. All right, so let's get this out of the way and get the stand in here. What do you think, Jen? You got the camera over there?
Yeah, I'll just hold this down here.
Yeah, we got it. We're gonna lift this up and then Eric's gonna pull the plastic, right?
No!
I'm just kidding. All right, Eric, let's go. Let's do it carefully and you tell me when to go. Ready?
1, 2, 3, go.
Oh shit, I can't even see what's going on. This thing's so big. All right, I think that's ish good. Yeah, it's a big boy. And dude, it totally looks like it's tipping back again. I'm a little nervous. Is that the plan, to have a little tilt?
It is what it is.
All right, all right. Do we want to take the plastic off first or go on the back first? All right, I'm in the way, so I'm gonna sit back down and get out of the way. Go ahead, do your thing.
Okay, you ready for it?
I am. Show me what you got.
Oh, I'll show you.
You want me to hold it? Throw it?
Yeah.
You're so serious.
It's very serious.
You can reach it.
Okay. This says I start over here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad there's plastic on it because there's a bunch of scratches on the screen and I'm glad that's not the actual screen.
Yeah, right? Okay.
That's crazy.
She thick.
Indeed. It looks pretty good. I mean, I can tell it doesn't have a super aggressive anti-reflective coating. But you know, this TV I think is supposed to be like 5,000 nits, so it's not that important, but it's fine, the anti-reflective coating. I did notice, we can't see now, but there are some speakers on top. We'll have to get a picture of it. Eric's like, lift the crane up there, lift the crane up there. Can you see it? And then speaker grills all along this. I don't know where the speakers actually are, but it definitely looks like pretty badass, I have to admit. And then on the back here, we got what looks to be, you know, I think there's 2 subs and maybe they have 2 ports each. I'm not sure, maybe it's 4 subs. I should definitely look it up. We'll find out in the spec sheet. This looks like it's an 800 by 400 millimeter VISA pattern, which if it is, you have to have a specific mount that can hold a large TV, obviously, because it's also heavy. So I'll link one in the description that we use, an arm style mount and a flat mount, so you guys have the leg up there. Besides that, it's pretty basic, huh, Jen?
Yeah, looks like we could have gone more narrow.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't even see that. Yeah, so in the instructions it said take off the end pieces. I was also thinking we could take out the middle piece and put it in. So you don't have to have the biggest stand to put this on, although the feet are very long. So if you're gonna put it on a stand, you know, those feet are like 18 inches wide here, so you gotta have a bigger stand than this, but it can be narrow. Good call. And then for the ports, looks like we have USB and headphone, AV in, digital optical out. You have some HDMIs. The top one is the HDMI eARC port, connect to your soundbar, and then you got 3 more. The bottom 2 are 4K up to 144 hertz for gaming. So a lot of great options. 4 HDMI ports is pretty standard. And this does have the ATSC 3.0 tuner gen at the bottom there. So you can connect and get 4K HD channels where that is relevant. I don't know how many we got in the USA, but always growing, I think.
I love a good tuner.
Jen, I think we need to grab the remote.
I think so too. Let's grab it. This is actually a really pretty remote. It's nice and shiny, which I love. Look at how shiny the directional pad is right here. So we've got some of our specialty buttons with our Netflix and YouTube and all those good things. You can even do the voice activation, and then of course your channels and your volume buttons. And the coolest part is it's backlit. So now that I've set the mood, let's turn this sucker on.
Okay, here we are on the home screen of the 98-inch UX from Hisense, and it looks really big. It looks bigger than the 98-inch TVs that we normally have in here for some reason. Maybe it's the side speakers, maybe it's the big feet I don't know, but we'll talk more about like the speakers and everything in a little bit. This is the Google TV operating system that we've talked about in many TVs because, you know, Sony, Hisense, TCL all share this great operating system. It's very intuitive. You have the opportunity to set up multiple profiles, to have programs and movies and stuff recommended for you, along with the fact that there's just tons and tons of apps, including Google TV channels, all the things that I use, just goes on and on. I really like everything about the Google TV operating system. The only downside is, for some reason, it is one of the harder ones to set up. It has some automatic settings. You're supposed to be able to pop right through it, and then all of a sudden it fails on my phone, and then it's like you got to go in through manually and connect it anyways. And then at the end of all of it, you get to wait for 10-15 minutes for it to update. So just know that if you get a TV with the Google TV operating system, it's probably going to be awesome, but it's going to take about 30 minutes to get it set up. So not the end of the world. And then lastly, when the TV is idle, you get some pretty cool art in the background, time, temperature. I think that's cool just because your TV is left on randomly more than you think. And it's nice to have something there besides just a black rectangle. Now, when you kick it into something like YouTube TV in order to showcase how well this TV handles sports, movies, all these kind of things that you'd watch, you know, there's a lot of positives with the 98-inch UX. First of all, it's extremely bright. That's no surprise. This is one of the brightest TVs we've ever seen here. We have seen other 98-inch TVs that are similar, like the QM8 and the X90L from Sony and TCL, but this is super bright and it looks really good. Now, sports, basketball, this is one of the hardest things to make look good when you're talking about upscaling, lower resolution, lower bit rate content, as well as fast moving small people across the screen all at once. And to be honest, it handles it pretty well. There's a little bit of pixelation around the people on screen, but we were looking at the different colors. Like for example, during the Emirates Cup of this NBA playoff or midseason playoffs, you got some wild colors on the courts. And this yellow and the people running around it, I mean, you just have a lot of like very difficult things for the TV to process at once. And overall, the UX is doing a pretty good job. And I don't think I've seen a lot of TVs that do it better. Maybe you'd say like an OLED TV that's smaller might look a little bit sharper because it's not such a big screen. But overall, I'm pretty impressed. 98-inch TV, brightness, you know, color, all of those things for watching SDR. And if you want to add a little bit more pop to the SDR, you can also turn on this HDR Enhance, which kind of, you know, gives it the enhancements to make it look like an HDR quality. Or if you don't, you can also mess around with this active contrast. Now we've had it on and off just to see how we like it. And of course, it does what you'd think it would do. It increases the contrast if you have it on, but it also changes the picture quality a little bit and makes it less accurate. So those two things can be messed around with as well as the brightness, color, and all these other things just to get the picture exactly how you'd like it. Now, SDR is just one aspect of what this TV can do. HDR Movies is something that I'm really excited about, so let's do that next. Okay, here we are, HDR Movies, and we start off with Luca because it's a really good movie to show how bright and crazy looking a TV can get in HDR. And this is fantastic looking. I mean, some of these scenes are so bright and vibrant. It's absolutely amazing. And it's so much larger than some of the other TVs that we have. So yes, there are other great TVs that maybe look this bright but aren't as big. So the combination of the two is just really awesome. And we are able to even increase some of the settings or change them to make it look even better. This is Dolby Vision Custom. I don't like that you have to back out of that and then go to different settings on this TV, but that's just something for this UI. It's not the end of the world. But then when we get down in here in the brightness, you can see that active contrast again is off. You can turn that on and get more of a, you know, nice contrast. It really brings out more brightness, but that isn't necessarily accurate. And then color, of course, we do the warm one here to get better color. And the clarity, that's something that's definitely important. It should just be disabled completely and then allow you to change it as needed. But it actually starts with it on film mode. So we just put it to custom and then move the judder reduction and blur reduction down to around 3 each, which we feel for these kind of TVs gives you a good balance of reducing the judder, but also not making it look like it has too much of the soap opera effect. So that's just something that we typically do, but you should set that how you like. And then it did have the precision detail on, so we actually turned that off just to get a more accurate kind of reference to see what this thing looks like with all the settings kind of where they should be. So overall, I'm really, really impressed with how this UX handles HDR, including the contrast and how great small highlights look in a dark seen. I mean, this is something that having 10,000 plus dimming zones can really help with, to make these little highlights all over look really bright, something that you'd expect to see from an OLED TV and not so much from an LED. But I'm really, really impressed with this. Now, the only thing that was a little disappointing with regards to watching movies on this giant TV that looks fantastic is that the effort put into making the sound system sound good isn't quite there. I just think it sounds like a typical TV. So there's sound coming out from the bottom of the TV. There's some minimal sounds coming from the sides that would be representative of like Atmos, but it's not very loud. And then the bass is okay. But again, overall, it isn't on par with how good this TV looks. So, you know, you'd still want to get an audio system. So I guess for me, I wouldn't buy a TV like this and not have a solid audio system. But I'm just saying, if there were efforts to make this TV look and sound equally as impressive, the sound does fall a little bit short of how good the TV looks. And we noticed that when we were watching this introduction to Guardians of the Galaxy 2. But that sound quality leads me into some other tests that we did with pretty good results. So let's talk about those right now. And let me get the other negative out of the way besides the sound, which is the reflection handling of this gigantic TV. Now, to be honest, it's not the best 98-inch with regards to handling reflections. I have seen some that are more aggressively knocking down the reflections that you might face in a, bright room or whatever. But it's okay. It's not terrible. It's just one of those things where we have to talk about whether or not you have really good anti-reflective capabilities and then you have some of the rainbow effect that spreads that reflection across your screen, or if you just kind of have a mediocre reflection handling and you don't have issues when there are bright lights with that rainbow effect. So this just has decent anti-reflective capabilities, no rainbow effect. If you're in a dark room, it makes no difference. If you're in a really, really bright room with this huge TV, it might be a little bit hard to see. But this TV is so bright as well that I don't think it's going to be the end of the world either way. Now, on the positive side for testing, the blooming control is fantastic. Hisense really has these 10,000 plus dimming zones working really well together because there is very, very little blooming at all. We ran some tests. We're watching some movies that are widescreen. We've seen regular content, and I've really noticed no blooming at all. So that's very impressive, especially with something that has such good contrast and has such high brightness. To be able to control the dimming zones and not see blooming, really good for Hisense here. And then when it comes to the dirty screen effect or uniformity of this panel, there's also good news there as well, because if you're going to buy a really expensive gigantic TV, the last thing that you want is for the panel uniformity to be poor and therefore you have blotchy sections all over the screen. And you don't have that with this 98-inch UX, at least for us. I mean, yours could be different, but overall the panel looks pretty clean. I don't notice any real blotchy areas, so that's again a positive result for the dirty screen effect. And then lastly, something that I noticed on this TV versus other 90-inch TVs that we've reviewed is that the off-angle viewing is really good on the 98-inch UX.
And actually, since we've unboxed this TV and been watching it, I started looking at the pixel structure, and we think that this is actually the ADS Pro panel that they use for the 110-inch version of this UX. So it seems they are making 98-inch panels with this ADS Pro, and I thank Classy Calibrations for helping me look at this and kind of figure this out together.
So the good news is, if you buy this to put in a big room and you have viewing areas left, right, center, everyone's going to be getting a great movie experience or sport experience or whatever it may be, no matter where they are in the room. So that's really awesome, because I've had some 98-inch TVs where I was off angle in my own living room and I was like unhappy because I was not getting the same movie experience that, other people were getting straight on. So really awesome that this has fantastic viewing angles.
And before we get to buying advice, I want to quickly talk about gaming. This does have 4 HDMI ports. 2 of them are 4K up to 144 Hertz. And that does not include the eARC port, which is separate than those 2 to plug your sound system into. So that's great. You don't have to use one of the high-speed gaming ports. And overall, the quality of gaming looks to be quite on par with the Hisense TVs that we've reviewed this year. The U8N, U7N, all of them game quite well. You're able to game at 4K 120 on PS5 or Xbox Series X, a little bit faster if you have PC gaming. And it just looks really great. It's a huge, vibrant screen, so you're really immersed into the games. I can't tell you if this is that much better or worse than some of the other giant TVs that we've reviewed, like the QM8 or the X90L. It seems they're all capable of 4K 120, and that's awesome. So I think it's great. It does have a game menu. It is a little bit trickier to find. You do have to pull up another menu in the settings and then go over to the game bar, but it does display all the things that are relevant to gaming: frame rate, HDR not, VRR, ALM, and then you have the ability to kind of increase or decrease some of the other features that you'd want and go into the main settings in general. So So again, overall, great for gaming. And if you're getting a TV of this size, I think you'd be quite happy with it. And so really all that's left is to talk about buying advice and who should consider getting this TV. So overall, I think that this Hisense UX is a fantastic TV. We're talking mini LED, 10,000 plus dimming zones. We're talking 5,000 plus nits of brightness. In theory, it's got a better speaker system inside of it. It's pretty good off angle as opposed to some of the other ones that we've looked at. So I guess if you have to ask me, am I happy with the Hisense UX? I would say yes, this is a fantastic TV and it would be totally acceptable to have this in my living room. I'd be stoked. But at the time of recording this video, the 98-inch UX is about $4,500 here in the US, which puts it similarly priced to a couple other very popular 98-inch TVs. One of them being the TCL QM8, which I feel probably performs very similar to this. This UX might be slightly brighter, maybe not, I'm not sure. They're both around 5,000 nits, I believe. This probably has more dimming zones though. And I do think that this is fantastic and maybe even a little bit better off angle than the QM8, even though that's a great TV as well. And then the Sony X90L, now that was more expensive, I think upwards of like $10,000, but now is only about the same price as this UX. And I think that this is probably a little bit better because it's brighter. It is a mini LED and that's just a regular LED, but a lot of people like Sony TVs and for a similar price point, maybe they would go in that direction. I'm not sure I would as I look at some of this HDR footage. It looks pretty remarkable. And then the other more expensive 98-inch is the Samsung QN90D, which is still like $9,000. And I think this is very similar, but who's gonna pay 2x the price when they can get something like this, the TCL or the Sony for only around $5,000 or less? And there are a few less expensive options. First, there is the TCL Q6 we talk about all the time. That's only $1,500. And I feel like it's very good. Obviously, it's not this bright. It doesn't have this good a contrast, but for $1,500, you probably would be okay with it not being quite as good for a third of the price. And then the QM7 from TCL, which is about $2,200. That is mini LED, so it's a step up and a little bit better. Both of those game 4K 120, all that, they're pretty good TVs. Again, I think this probably outperforms both of them, but at a cost. And then lastly, there also is the 100-inch U8K from Hisense and the U76K, U76N, a couple different models that again are much less expensive than this TV. So I know a lot of people were happy with the 100-inch U8K. I've gotten feedback from people saying they absolutely love it. So these are all questions that I would have for you guys as an audience. What would you guys do? Would you opt for something that's $1,500 or $3,000 that's, 75 to 80 to 90% as good as this UX? Or are you gonna go ahead and spend an additional amount of money, pay $4,500 and get this fantastic Hisense UX at the 98-inch? I don't know. It's something that we gotta talk about. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And of course, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in the next video.